Hi, I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking. And this time I've been thinking about being a grown-up. And the reason I've been thinking about being a grown-up is because I've finally realised that if I'm not there now, I'm probably never going to get there. And I'm a bit worried that I'm still not there. So I thought it might be a good idea to take a closer look at what being a grown-up actually means and whether it matters that I still don't feel like I've quite got there. I mean, maybe it comes from being told to ask a grown-up when you're a child and you don't understand something or you can't figure out how something works or what you're supposed to do. And it feels fine that as a child, but if you're still looking for a grown-up to help you when you're in your 50s, has something gone wrong? I think I've done all the stereotypical things that you're supposed to do in order to qualify for being a grown-up. I've been around for a while. I've held down a proper job for a long time. I've got a house and I've raised a family in it. And now I'm planning ahead for my retirement. So surely all of those things should make me feel that I'm a proper grown-up. And I suppose in a way they do, especially now that I've reeled them off like that. But maybe it's because I never really had a plan for what I wanted to do when I was a grown-up. So I've never been able to consider myself as having got there. I mean, I wonder if it feels different for people who knew what they wanted to be when they grew up. And then if they achieved it, they might feel that they've actually reached that milestone. I can remember for one of my children, their primary school had a celebration when the children were getting ready to leave. And as part of that, they had to say what they wanted to be when they were grown up. And it was interesting to hear what their dreams were at that stage in their lives. And I expect I was asked that question too when I was a child, but I had no idea how to answer. I can remember watching things on the TV and wondering, is that what I should do? Things like people's jobs in soap operas, like working in a shop or a pub or being a yuppie like Del Boy tried to be once in Only Fools and Horses. I think I was just looking for ideas and inspiration, but never really saw anything that made me think that was what I should do. Mostly I just wanted to have fun, and I couldn't think of a job that I thought would be fun. As it turned out, I just started applying for random jobs, and that's really what my only plan has ever been. I looked for what was available rather than what I really wanted, because I didn't know what I really wanted. And now I'm coming to the end of my working years, and I still haven't got any closer to knowing what I really want to do. I'm quite experienced in my job and people can come to me for advice, but I work for a huge company, so there's still plenty of people above me, and I suppose I think of those as the real grown-ups because they have more responsibilities than I do, even though a lot of them are probably younger than me now. And then at home, I feel like being a grown-up means that you always know what to do when something goes wrong. I can usually figure my way through a situation, but I'd still prefer it if there was a real grown-up around who already knows what to do. And I've been married for quite a long time, and my husband is quite handy with a lot of the jobs around the house. So I've never really needed to figure out things like putting up a shelf or fixing a dripping tap. I expect I could if I had to, but the fact that I haven't had to does make me feel a bit less independent. I mean, I'm sure I could turn to YouTube to help me, so that's quite reassuring. So I think I'm starting to see that, to me, being a grown-up means always knowing what to do and being able to solve any problems that come up and maybe knowing where you're going in life. So when I put it like that, I can see why I still don't feel like I've quite got there. And that with those requirements, I really am never going to get there. So maybe I've been getting it wrong, and that isn't what being a grown-up means after all. So I tried to do a bit of reading and research to find out what other people might think that being a grown-up means. And actually I've been quite reassured by the answers. They seem to generally agree with me that being a grown-up means more than just age. And really it's a mix of responsibilities, independence, and being able to handle life's demands in a steady way. So specifically, being a grown-up means taking responsibility. So owning your choices and their consequences, including fixing mistakes if they happen. Managing yourself, so handling stress, emotions and impulses without needing constant guidance. Making decisions, so weighing up the pros and cons and making choices that consider the longer term impact rather than just reacting to what you want right now. Being reliable, so following through on commitments with work, family and friends. Thinking ahead, so considering what your actions now might mean for you in the future in terms of things like money and health. Having independence with support when needed. So solving problems yourself but still asking for help when you need to. And respecting others, so considering other people's needs and boundaries. And it doesn't mean never having fun or never feeling immature, because it is possible to have fun and be immature and still handle your responsibilities. So it's been interesting to think about that list because I can see a couple of really clear areas where I'm not convinced that I've ticked all the boxes. And those are making decisions and having independence. So I've made a video previously about overthinking the details, and I think that overlaps with the making decisions aspect. I think it's probably a bit of an autistic trait, but I have always struggled to make decisions on some of the bigger things in life because I always feel like the potential research into the decision is never over. Things like which job to have or which house to live in. I really struggle to make decisions about things like that. And I can see that those struggles could definitely be something that stopped me from feeling like a proper grown-up. Because proper grown-ups should be able to make decisions about those things, shouldn't they? And I think the part about having independence is because I don't live on my own and I haven't done for a long time. And if I'm relying on someone else to do some of the things for me and I don't know how to do them myself, then it's another thing that's stopping me from feeling like a proper grown-up. And I think that perhaps I'm not being very realistic about that because probably nobody can do everything for themselves and they do have to get help from someone else from time to time. And maybe being a grown-up is knowing that you need some help and knowing how to get it. And just because you might already have someone nearby who can help with the things that you can't do, that doesn't make you not a grown-up. So maybe it really is just the decision-making part that's getting in the way. And maybe the answer to that is just to accept it as an autistic trait that I can learn to work with. When you know yourself a bit better, it can be easier to overcome your challenges if you know what they are and have some techniques to overcome them. And I had a suggestion recently to try and imagine yourself in the new situation that you're trying to make a decision about. And if you can imagine it, then just go for it and don't overthink it. I mean, I haven't tried that out yet, but I decided to keep it in mind, ready for the next time I'm facing a decision that feels too big. And I can also do things like asking people around me who know me quite well what they think I should do. And I've never really tried that because I always think that I'm supposed to make those big decisions by myself. So I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm actually quite a accomplished grown-up who takes responsibility, is reliable, manages the stresses and struggles of everyday life, and plans ahead for things like money and health. I'm not completely independent, but I could be if I needed to be, because I know how to get help if I need it. I do find bigger decisions in life a bit of a struggle, but that doesn't stop me from being a grown-up. It just means that I need a bit more help with that. But if I know that about myself, I can work with it. And I can definitely be a bit silly and immature at times, but I like that about myself, and I'm glad that I can carry on doing that and still be a grown-up. And the fact that I find decisions quite tricky has got nothing to do with that. And I think I'll even feel a bit more confident in myself and more okay with being silly after the work that I've done on this subject. So I'm pleased about that. So those are my thoughts about why I had a few doubts about whether I could class myself as a proper grown-up yet. And I wonder if anyone else can relate to having those doubts and whether your doubts are similar to mine. Knowing me, I've probably just been overthinking it. But actually, I've enjoyed thinking about this subject and what it actually means to be a grown-up. If you've got any thoughts to share about this subject, I would love to hear them if you would like to leave a comment. I might respond with something silly or immature, but that doesn't mean I'm not a grown-up. So I hope you've taken something useful from this video, but I think that's all for this time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!